Female rap has always had its pioneers: Queen Latifah, MC Lyte, Lauryn Hill, Missy Elliott, Lil' Kim, Nicki Minaj. But every generation produces artists who don't necessarily change the entire industry. Sometimes they simply change what feels possible. And that's where Young Gimme comes in. Because when she emerged, she wasn't trying to fit neatly into the image of what a female rapper was supposed to be. She wasn't chasing a pop record. She wasn't trying to manufacture a personality for mainstream acceptance. She came in with bars, confidence, street-oriented storytelling, and most importantly, she sounded like herself. Section 1. Before Young Gimme. For years, female rappers were often placed inside a very narrow box. Be attractive, be marketable, be provocative, make the hits. And there's nothing inherently wrong with any of those things. The problem was when those became expectations. Young Gimme represented something different. A female rapper who could walk into a predominantly male space and compete without having to completely change her identity. Her music was built around confidence, sexuality, money, street life, ambition, and independence. The same subjects male rappers had been discussing for decades, but she approached them from her own perspective, and that mattered. Section 2. Then came, the song didn't feel like a carefully manufactured pop crossover. It felt raw, minimal, aggressive, and incredibly quotable. The track exploded and introduced Young Gimme to a much larger audience. But the bigger story wasn't simply that the female rapper had a hit. It was that she had the hit without compromising the identity that made her interesting in the first place. Young Gimme didn't suddenly become somebody else for the mainstream. The mainstream had to come to her, and that's an important distinction. Section 3. Breaking the female rap stereotype. Young Gimme also challenged another assumption, that female rappers had to compete primarily through femininity. Her style was different, her delivery was different, her fashion was different, her energy was different, and she wasn't interested in pretending otherwise. That gave audiences another representation of what a successful female rapper could look like. Not every woman had to follow the same blueprint. You could be feminine, you could be masculine, you could be somewhere in between. You could be sexually expressive, you could be private, you could be aggressive, you could be vulnerable, and still be an artist. That's bigger than rap. That's representation through individuality. Section 4. The LGBTQ plus dimension. There's another part of Young Gimme's impact that can't be ignored. Her identity as an openly lesbian rapper challenged another boundary inside hip-hop. Hip-hop has historically had complicated relationships with sexuality, masculinity, and LGBTQ plus identities. So Young Gimme entering the mainstream as herself was significant. She didn't need to hide that part of her identity to participate in rap culture. And she wasn't successful because she was a lesbian rapper. She was successful because she was an artist who happened to be openly lesbian. That distinction matters. Because representation becomes more powerful when someone isn't reduced to the identity they are representing. Section 5. Influence. Young Gimme's influence isn't necessarily about creating an army of artists who sound exactly like her. It's more subtle than that. She contributed to the expansion of the female rap's landscape. A landscape where artists could occupy different identities, different aesthetics, different sexualities, different sounds, and different approaches to femininity. And around the same era, Female rap was becoming more commercially dominant than ever. Nicki Minaj had already opened enormous doors. Then came artists like Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, City Girls, Doja Cat, Lato, and others, each bringing something different. Young M.A was part of that larger shift. The female rapper didn't have to be one thing anymore. There was room for multiple versions of womanhood inside hip-hop. Section 6, let's be honest. But here's where the story gets interesting. Young M.A's impact is arguably bigger than her current commercial position. She didn't maintain the same level of mainstream dominance as some of her peers, and that's important to acknowledge, because cultural impact and commercial longevity aren't the same thing. You can influence a culture without becoming the biggest artist in it. Young M.A proved that a rapper could create a major cultural moment without completely surrendering their identity to the industry, and sometimes that's the legacy. Young M.A's story isn't simply about a female rapper becoming successful. It's about permission. Permission to exist outside the industry's expectations. Permission for female rappers to sound aggressive. Permission to talk about the same subjects men have always talked about. Permission to reject conventional femininity. Permission to be openly queer. And most importantly, permission to be an individual. Because the evolution of female rap isn't just about getting more women into hip-hop. It's about giving women more freedom to decide what kind of rapper they want to be. And Young M.A was one of the artists who helped push that door open. Maybe she didn't completely change female rap, but she changed something arguably just as important: the range of possibilities. And sometimes, that's how culture actually changes. Not with one person replacing the old system, but with one person proving that another version of the system can exist.